Why is it every scene involving a laboratory or science room has to include symphony or opera music? Have these doctors and scientists never been exposed to any other genre of music, or is it a prerequisite for working in these environments? Did he just microwave that rat? I've heard of some pretty awful experiments being done to animals in labs, but an oversized microwave? Really?
Vi har det. Andreas, vi har det. Det fungerar.
This is the exact look I would expect from the boss after being told that Jürgen has spent the last 5 years, and who knows how many millions of dollars has been spent creating this oversized microwave for rats.
In the 1950s, the Institute identified overpopulation as mankind's single greatest long-term threat. The cause of all the catastrophes we are seeing today, the extreme climate and weather events, and the devastating impact on food and water security.
So overpopulation has been identified as mankind's single greatest long-term threat and the cause of all the catastrophes the world has seen. Not politics and politicians, not greed or money. Overpopulation. That's what they decided was going to end mankind, and their solution is to shrink people. We will come to find out that they are not shrinking people in high positions or the wealthy. They are marketing to average people who are likely living paycheck to paycheck, but can have a better life with the conversion of funds. This sounds like they are just shrinking the poor and middle class along with anybody that makes them look bad. It is better than outright killing everyone or locking everyone up, but I would be wary when the elite are not taking part in the shrinking process. So this company is marketing to people all over the world, and we're supposed to believe that anybody who gets downsized is going to have a better life after they convert their assets. But what kind of life will these people have? They look like they're already struggling to eat each day, and certainly don't have a middle-class home and car to sell like Paul. So what neighborhood are they being pitched?
I can shrink people down and fly to Mars, but they can't cure my fibromyalgia.
Paul's mom would be great at "yeah, right" moments. She gets it. Overpopulation has been identified as mankind's single greatest threat, so why would they try curing life-threatening illnesses and instead focus time and money on shrinking people? We're led to believe that Paul is a lower-middle-class guy. He lives in his mother's home that was presumably paid off, drives a modest car, and his wife works. But an occupational therapist makes an average of $94,000 a year, and we don't see him living it up with fancy vacations, clothing, and expensive toys. On the contrary, he lives very modestly, doing the same thing each day. Some take out food from the bar while having a few beers each night, and he doesn't have a large savings set aside. I think he'd have more money, especially if he's living like this.
The store was super busy.
Anesthesiology, huh?
Do people still have high school reunions? I mean, I know some people will get together and call it a reunion, but does it even exist on this level? It looks like everybody showed up. Nobody even likes high school, and you're lucky if you've stayed in touch with a handful of people over the years. But typically most people can't wait to start their own life and don't have much desire to see people from high school. They probably don't even know most of them anyway, so this idea that this many people showed up to a reunion, even in a small town, sounds a little far-fetched. Now this is the look of a man who's been beat down by life and on the edge. He's the broken tiger at the zoo that's lost his fight. I love this scene where people are clearing away a spot so the downsizers can be placed to talk with everyone. It sets up the show, leading people to believe that visiting the real world is somewhat commonplace, or it will become commonplace. Unfortunately, during most of the movie, we never really see any of it. I'm not gonna lie, it is appealing to think that liquidating your mediocre assets would allow you to live the good life being small. Aside from traveling to other countries, most of what you would look forward to in retirement can be done on a small scale. Most people don't even travel when they have the opportunity. I mean, what are we talking about? Daily barbecues? Golfing? Fishing? Even a bottle of alcohol could last the whole year even if you were drinking daily. Why not shrink down and enjoy the good life with the conversion rate?
Hold on. If this is such a good thing, how come you haven't done it?
I would do it in a heartbeat, but my husband had a hip replacement, so he's ineligible.
This is exactly the question they need to be asking. And doesn't she have just the perfect answer that would prevent her from downsizing? Is she telling the truth, or does everyone here get training on what to tell potential clients as to why they haven't downsized? A company like this seems like they should have some type of company purchase program allowing them to downsize after a time.
Do you think if you're that small, you should still have all the same rights as the rest of us normal-sized people? I mean, like the right to vote?
He's got a point here. The smalls can't do anything without the bigs, from travel to communication. So there's not much the smalls can do if the government decides to change some laws. This would be a big drawback if things are not as perfect as they are made out to be. Can you imagine the smalls trying to protest the government? What would that look like on the sidewalk? This does not look like a couple on the verge of early retirement as millionaires. If this scene was in a different movie, it could easily pass for them being on their way to an extermination camp or a Soylent Green factory. I've never seen anyone look like this on the airplane to Hawaii or Las Vegas.
You'll be separated for approximately 5 hours. Following the procedure, you'll be reunited in the recovery room.
After going through the legal interview where they talk about the odds of injury or death being 1 in 225,000 and hearing this woman make this statement, I would definitely be asking some more questions like what exactly we're recovering from. It's been made out to be a dream come true and no downside to downsizing. So what is all this about? Why are all these women nurses gathering to assist the male customers? They made it a point to separate the men and women as if they want to have some semblance of privacy. So why would they not have hired male nurses to do this task after they cooked? It might be petty and maybe nobody would know because they are all unconscious. But I'm sure somebody would have issues if there were a bunch of male nurses attending to the women's section assisting them. And where are all the kids? There were definitely children waiting to be downsized. Is there a special children's wing too? It's the little details that can make a movie great. Every man can appreciate this scene where the first thing Paul does is make sure everything is as it should be. Yeah, right. There's a lot to unpack with this scene. Now, there's not much said about Paul's divorce and the terms, but it looks like Audrey took everything and Paul is starting again from zero. If they had split their assets, then he, presumably, would still have had enough to retire on. Now, Nebraska is not a community property state, but the judge would still have to divide assets in a way that is equitable and reasonable. But Nebraska also has alimony, so it's possible Paul got ripped from everything, and that's why he's starting from zero again. Leisure is touted as being the retirement community. Heck, all the downsizing communities are explained that way. So it doesn't make sense that there's so many people who have little to no money living here. But okay. Paul is still an occupational therapist, which means he'd be able to make a decent living with his skills than working at a call center. I mean, he could easily be helping the people who got tennis elbow, or hurt their back rowing, or any number of problems. And if he is working in this call center making calls to the world and earning normal wages, that would easily translate to a decent conversion rate in Leisureland.
Painkiller? Painkiller good?
This is just a really great scene where Nak Lontran is so casually stealing the medicine. She's not even concerned that Paul is here and simply says that it's expired and she needs to get rid of it. What a gem.
Okay, I take away thing. Pill for sick friend.
You put your hand right here. Now, feel that, okay? See that crunching? You hear it? Yeah, that's arthritis. That's already pretty bad.
Paul, you're full of surprises. You can do this, but you work shit job answering phones.
Wow, Doosan would be great at yeah right moments. Now this was most definitely not in the downsizing brochures. I'm sure the downsizing company would have a much harder time selling the dream if people knew this part of the town existed and was a possibility.
Yes, perk set. Very good for pain. How much? 2, 4, 5. How much?
Try 2.
2. This lady very sick. Pill all. We give 4.
How awesome is Lon? When I'm sick and dying, I want her taking care of me. I'm not going to be feeling any pain when the time comes. What is this? A large puddle? This would not even be a river in Norway. It's too small, and the natural current would sweep away whatever toy size both these guys are using. And are there no fish here? They would be the size of gigantic monster whales in the ocean in comparison.
Relatively soon, the Earth will indeed purge itself of human life. And God knows how many other species.
Do you really mean extinction? What about downsizing?
Yeah, too little, too late.
Isn't it just like these think tanks to say the only way to survive the end of humanity is to do something drastic, only to change their tune afterward to say it wouldn't have made a difference? So everyone they conned into downsizing could have kept their regular big lives and not changed anything? Sure, for some people the change was great, but there are so many others like Paul and Lon that might have been better off staying big. Let me get this right. They downsized animals? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say PETA didn't approve this move. I have so many questions now. Did they have to shave off all the hair from the horses, including the tails, like they did the humans? And what about chickens? Would they have had to pluck the feathers from the chickens too?
You were in my dream last night. You were a horse or a pony, something very strong. And I mounted you and rode you through a dangerous forest.
Okay.
So, how do you respond to that?
So, what do you do for power? Is it nuclear?
No, 100% geothermal. And we have interoperable organic systems to manage production of artificial sunlight, oxygen, CO2 elimination, water purification, and so on.
I bet these guys were masters at Minecraft as kids.
How long will you stay down?
That's the classical signs of a cult in the making.
Oh, Paul, come on, now you're talking crazy. These people, they're wonderful, but
It's like a cult.
it's a cult.
Seriously, we need to hire these guys on staff.
Hate fuck, sex only fuck, break up fuck, make up fuck, drunk fuck, buddy fuck, pity fuck.
What the F, Lon? This is one of the greater moments of the movie.
Hurry! Don't forget, we still need to go see Philippine man. Take care for his arm.
I know. Stop obsessing, will you?
And after all that he's been through, Paul is still getting treated like crap. I think he actually enjoys his life like this. He seems to keep putting himself back in these situations. Oh well, I hope the best for him. If you like the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more.